Right, I have a confession to make. I have an addiction problem. Actually, I have two addictions. First being coffee. I drink far too much, and let's be honest, I'm not going to drink any less. And the other addiction and problem I have is I've spent far too much time thinking about my watch collection. My watch collection this year has changed dramatically, and if you went back even just 6 months ago, it would look completely different. I've decided to adopt a new ethos that less is more. The choice fatigue, waking up each morning, I know first world problems, and deciding what watch to wear, I started to dislike. But most importantly, what I realized was I wanted to spend more time with the watches I genuinely loved. I realized I wasn't wearing the watches I liked, and as a result, I've sold a lot. 3 significant sales and 3 to 6 watches, Seiko divers, some Citizen watches, between £300 to £600 that I've gifted and sold, you know, various different things. So this is the video. I'm going to walk you through all of it, what I sold and why, what almost made it, and the 5 watches, the 5 core collection I now have that actually I'm really grateful for and really proud about. So let's get into it. Hopefully you recognize in the video that there are reasons why I've kept certain watches, a lot of sentimental value, and I'm going to start off with some honorable mentions that don't actually feature in the 5 watch core collection. And the first one is this rotor call on my wrist. Now this is a watch I bought from Japan on my honeymoon, and it's a watch that I keep picking up wanting to wear, and that's really unusual for me because typically with digital watches I wear them for a couple of weeks, I wear them for a month, and then that novelty kind of wears off. But I still want to pick this up. You know, I bought this January, February time of this year, and it's the longest I've worn a digital watch, and I think it's got a lot to do with the proportions. 37mm diameter case, but actually, you know, the bezel is functional. It's got some really useful complications, should I say, you know, dual time zone, stopwatch, all these sorts of things which are actually quite useful. So I wanted to mention the rotor call. I think it's one that is overhated on because of the retail price, but you can get them now on sale. It's worth checking out for sure. The second watch that I want to mention is actually the watch that got me wearing watches again. Now, there was a period of time, believe it or not, I know, a couple of years I stopped wearing watches, but I went on a trip with my wife to Venice, and she ended up buying me a Moonswatch, and I didn't know there was a craze about it. There certainly wasn't a craze about it in Venice. I walked in and picked up the watch. It was a Mission to Saturn Moonswatch, and it got me wearing watches again. So I've kept it. The battery's dead. I hardly ever wear it, but I've kept it as a sentimental thing. And another Swatch collab I want to talk about is a Swatch Blancpain collaboration. Now, my mum, for whatever reason, knew that I was a huge fan of the 50 Fathoms, and she wasn't going to go out and spend £20,000 and actually buy me a 50 Fathoms. We don't roll like that in my family. But it was very sweet that she ended up buying this for me for my 30th birthday. And I really like it, but I do wear it. I actually think this bezel action is better than some of the watches in my collection that are 8 times the price. And I actually like it. I think it's actually an underrated collaboration. Yes, it's thick, but a Blancpain 50 Fathoms is a thick diver. I really like it. So those are the honorable mentions I just wanted to get out of the way. And I want to now move on to the 3 watches that left. All 3 left in order for me to purchase another watch. Now 3 turned into 2, essentially. So I really shrunk down the core collection with these sales. The first being, and I can't believe I sold it, was the Cartier Seamaster reference 253180. Cartier meaning it was 1994 for me, and I'm surprised I let it go, but the reason I did let it go was, again, it wasn't getting any wrist time. Every time I wanted to wear a Seamaster, I picked the other one, and we'll get into that in just a second. The second watch that left was the Grand Seiko SBGX355, the watch I bought from Japan. I mean, I've made many videos on this watch, and I'm not going to talk about it too much, but ultimately, it wasn't the right watch for me. The experience wasn't great, and so I ended up letting go of it, and thankfully didn't lose any money on it, so that was great, and that went into another watch as well. And then the most surprising, shocking sale that I made was the Breitling Top Time Reference 2002. One watch I didn't expect I would ever sell, really. It was the first expensive watch I bought myself, but again, I didn't wear it. Especially in recent times, it became a watch that was almost an afterthought. I ended up having to baby it a little bit because of the acrylic, you know, glass. These sort of watches that are that old, you have to wear it differently. You can't wear it in certain situations, and I was made an offer I couldn't refuse, and at that time that offer was made, I was trying to, I guess, come up with the funds to buy the watch I wanted to buy, which I will go into, and I let it go. But one thing that really makes me happy is that it's gone to a home that will appreciate it. This guy had been looking for this watch for a long time, and I have to say it was one of the best examples. Again, made me an offer that I couldn't refuse, and it went towards the watch I've been wanting, I think, for a very long time, since I can remember. So those are the 3 watches watches, significant sales that I made this year. I cannot believe that I let go of that many watches, but I don't regret it. What I have brought into the collection, I'm really, really happy with. So we're going to move on now to the Core 5. And look, we're going to start off with the watch that I think started this channel. If this watch wasn't gifted to me, I definitely would have not started the channel. It opened Pandora's box for me and got me really addicted to watches and justifying spending stupid amounts of money on watches. You may have noticed it's on a completely different strap, and this is thanks to you guys. I made a 2-year review video on this watch, and a lot of you in the comments said, check out Uncle Straps, check out Uncle Straps. It completely transforms the watch. So I sent an email to Uncle Straps and they sent out this bracelet. It's grade 2 titanium, color matched perfectly and integrates into the case perfectly. It is so comfortable now as a result. This watch is completely transformed for me. It's given it a pure tool watch aesthetic, whereas previously the Milanese bracelet was a little bit more dressy. Don't get me wrong, I love that aesthetic as well, but I absolutely love the way this feels on the wrist. The links are small, so they conform to the wrist nicely. There's no on-the-fly adjustment, unfortunately, but there is micro adjust that you can use a tool to micro adjust with. No screwed in links as well. It's a push and pull, but you know, it's quite easy to get used to that if you have the right tools. I am blown away by this, and it's ended up being on my wrist a lot more since I changed the strap. So guys, check out Uncle Straps. They're also working on a 2.0 version of the Milanese bracelet that's integrated into the case. I really recommend checking them out, and thank you for the recommendation, because I absolutely love the aesthetic of this watch now. Like, I know Bond is a fictional character, but I do believe that this is the bracelet he will choose to wear this watch on. I love this watch. It's my favorite watch in the collection, the most important, bought for me for my wedding. This is the one watch I can confidently say is never ever being sold. It is it's the watch that will be built around, if that makes sense, in the collection. So I'm not going to spend too much more time on it. I've spent a lot of time talking about that watch. I'm going to move on to a watch that I bought to celebrate hitting 10,000 subscribers on the channel. And even this has a story attached to it, because it's my first bronze watch. I ended up selling my Pokemon collection in order to buy this watch. And it was the watch at British Watchmakers Day this year that I just fell in love with. I had been wanting a bronze watch for a long time. I think committing to a bronze watch is difficult because the whole point of having a bronze watch is living with it, letting it patina. And it has really taken on this beautiful patina now, darkened in certain areas on the lugs, especially on the crown, because of course the sort of the oil on your hands sort of definitely touches the crown a lot more than the rest of the watch. 36 millimeters, and it lives on the NATO. It lives on the NATO, and it's the first watch that I actually prefer wearing it on the NATO. I'm not a huge NATO fan. I don't like the fluff on the top of the strap, if you know what I mean. Sometimes it can make the watch feel chunkier, but because these are 18 millimeter, it has an 18 millimeter lug width. The watch is perfect on a NATO. It gives it that rugged, real field watch aesthetic, and I honestly believe this is the sexiest dial in my collection, and it's a bloody field watch. And why? I absolutely love the 3D molded Superluminova Arabic numerals. I think it's stunning in person. The contrast between that matte black dial, the indices, and that beautiful case that's taken on this brilliant patina now. I'm a huge fan of this watch, and I won't stop shouting about it because I love it. I think it's so sexy for a military watch, and also the brand itself, the only British brand in the Dirty Dozen that actually only made watches for the British side and not for the enemy. So, you know, something worth shouting about and something worth getting behind, I think. A huge fan of this watch, and a special one because you guys getting me to 10,000 subscribers gave me the excuse to buy it. So my Pokemon cards are now the Vertex Bronze 36. Okay, so moving on to a watch again that I bought because of one of you guys. Let me give you the backstory. I went to Japan and found a watch that I had never seen before, and I regretted not buying it. You can go check out the full Japan vlog there. But it's such a rare version of the watch, and clearly one of my subscribers felt sorry for me, and so he looked all over the internet and managed to find one example of this watch. Now, it was a smaller version of the watch, and I took a risk on it because I didn't know whether the bracelet was going to fit me. Now, this is the JLC Albatross 32mm quartz. This is the complete wild card in the collection. The one watch that nobody ever seems to have ever seen before when I take it to watch meetups. No one's seen it before. You know, a JLC quartz, you don't really typically associate JLC with quartz, but this particular quartz movement was the slimmest for its time. Don't know the exact date of the watch, but it's around the 70s, you know, where integrated bracelet watches were synonymous. This bracelet is a piece of jewelry. It's incredible. Now, I know this case size isn't for everyone, but it's my geezer watch, and I think it works. It's the one watch I pick up when I wear a suit, when I wear a shirt, and it just is so classy. I absolutely love it. You know, the dial almost looks enamel, but it's certainly this sort of lacquered, creamy dial with the Roman numerals with that that date window. It just works. It's got this concealed butterfly clasp as well. Just oozes quality. And look, I picked this up for such a great price, and I'm really grateful to Carlton because I love it. I wear it a lot. As I mentioned, when I'm dressing up, when I wear a shirt, when I want to just give that little bit of class to the outfit, I pick this up and I wear it. I love it. Absolutely love it. So Carlton, you're a legend. I bought this because of one of my subscribers. So it's got a great story attached to it as well. Moving on to a watch which was really unlike me, actually, I have to say, because I almost bought it, not on a whim, because I'd kept an eye on this particular model for a long time. I remember trying it on around 3 to 4 years ago in Paris, and it's the one watch from Cartier that I always kept an eye on. I went watch shopping on my birthday this year to buy a Rolex Explorer, and I didn't get one. Put my name down that day. I went to Burlington Arcade. By the way, if you're a watch fan and you're in London, you need to go to Burlington Arcade. I came across this particular model. This is the Cartier Santos 100. This is the medium size, and it's got the rose gold bezel with the rose gold details on the deployant clasp as well. The price of this watch was the same as examples I saw on the internet for the full steel version. Now, granted, I was looking for the full steel version, but I just could not let this up. It was incredible condition. It's got the original Cartier strap, which, by the way, I absolutely love. The quality of Cartier straps are incredible. I am going to buy a new strap for this watch for the winter. This is definitely a summer strap. But the blue cabochon, I think that this particular version, this is an anniversary edition of the Santos to celebrate 100 years of the Santos. It's now discontinued, but I think this boxy, more industrial case shape is actually more desirable than the modern Santos, I have to say. I like that the bezel here isn't integrated. If you know, the modern version of this watch is integrated into the bracelet, and I don't like it. I think the size of this watch is incredible. I think 33 millimeters in diameter, but because it's a square watch, it does wear slightly bigger. It conforms to the wrist perfectly. Just look at the case shape there. It's beautiful. It wears like a glove with the deployant clasp. It really feels premium. And the reason why I say this is unlike me is because I bought it on the day just because of the opportunity to buy it. I knew that this watch would get sold straight away if anybody was looking for this particular watch. But this Cartier also has lume on the hands. I mean, when do you ever see a Cartier with lume on it? I don't know. I absolutely love it. The more time I spend with it, the more I love it. It's such a unique looking watch, and I'm happy that I've got the Cartier Santos. I think the Santos, you know, it's the first wristwatch ever made, right? So there's so much history there as well. And actually, the sale of my birthday Seamaster went towards this. My birthday Cartier Santos, you could call it. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Which now actually brings me on to the newest watch in my collection. A watch that I hunted for. The Rolex AD didn't call me, so I visited the Rolex AD myself. Several. And thankfully got lucky on the day. Go and watch that video. My card gets declined. There's a lot of drama there. Go and watch that video. But I have always wanted this watch. It's the only Rolex I've ever wanted. And so 2 watches that I sold went into this one watch to become my perfect daily watch. I have actually spent a lot of time with the Rolex Explorer 36 prior to buying it because one of my friends' brothers has it. So I had that luxury to know that I actually love the watch. And I sold the Breitling Top Time and the Grand Seiko, and those 2 watches together funded this watch. I absolutely love it. It is, for me, the quintessential Rolex. Understated, functional, a proper tool watch. The dial, for me, I know it's really simple. I know it's really boring, but that's why I like it. It's so legible. The glossy black dial, you get lost in it. The Mercedes hands I absolutely love, and the 36mm diameter case is 35.4, so slightly smaller. I love it. I absolutely love wearing this on a day-to-day basis. It's taken over Monday to Friday for me, especially during the day. I love the bracelet. It's so comfortable. I love the extreme taper on it. The clasp is absolutely exceptional. The only letdown for me, is the fact that it doesn't have the glide lock system the Submariner has. I think it should have the glide lock system, if I'm being completely honest. But it has an easy link extension, so especially now in London, it's been extremely hot this summer. I have made use of it in the first sort of month of wearing it. So this is a watch that is really important because it's 2026. I bought it to mark the birth of my daughter, my first child. It's been a crazy time the last couple of months, and I wanted to mark something, and I think I wanted to do something special. And of course, being a watch collector, the best thing you can do is buy a watch to mark an occasion, isn't it really? And so it became very quickly an important and probably one of the most important watches in the collection now because it represents my daughter and it has become my daily wearer. Is it the perfect Garda? Far too soon for me to answer that question because I want to spend a couple of more months with it. I'm going to Canada. I'm taking it. This is the only watch I'm taking to Canada with me. So I'm going to be spending around 2 to 3 weeks with just this watch. And it goes back to the point I made earlier of this new ethos of less is more. I'm going to spend so much more time with this core collection now as a result of having less watches. I guess I've gone for more quality than quantity this year. Look, that may change in the future, but right now that's what I wanted to do. And I can't wait to spend time with these watches. I'm so grateful for this collection. Some of these watches have been bought because of you guys. And so to have the tie-in to the channel and to the community we've created here, it is something truly special. And I'm really grateful, honestly, really grateful for being able to showcase this with you, but also connect some of these watches with you. The Albatross is because of you. The Vertex is because of you. The strap now on my No Time to Die Seamaster from Uncle Straps is because of you. I'm just truly grateful and proud to have this collection. I'm definitely going to be sitting on it. There are no changes going to be happening imminently to this collection. I'm going to live with it now. I'm really, really happy. There you go. Less is more. Quality over quantity. Let me know in the comments what you think of the collection. I think there's an underlying theme here that I always try and connect something to my watch purchases. I always try and create a story, because every time I wear one of these watches, it reminds me of that story or reminds me of a certain individual or a certain time in my life. Let me know in the comments. Rate my collection. Go ham. You can rip me to pieces. I love this collection. That's all that matters. So you can absolutely destroy it. I don't care. I absolutely love it. You can tell by my beaming smile. I absolutely love it. So I'm happy I get to sort of share it with you guys. I'm so grateful for the community we're creating here. And if you haven't already, if you're new around here, please do like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. It really helps. The channel, we're trying to grow. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers. And you can also become a member as well. And to my members, I really appreciate you the most. Thank you for keeping the lights on here. I've been Jag from Jags Watches, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.